Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a necklace today, and I'm going to use some of the beads that came in the most recent Curated bead box, the one for May 2024. It's called Mystical Orient. I'll put a link in the corner of this video and in the description box below to the unboxing video I did for this subscription in case you want to watch it, where I go over everything that came in the box. I have a coupon code. It's Teresa35, and I'll put it on the screen here and in the description box below, along with a link to the page to sign up for this subscription if you're interested. The coupon will save you 35% off your first box if you sign up. And here I have the 8mm green/purple duo style glass beads that came in the box. I have the 60 seed beads that came in the box. I have this chandelier component that came in the box. These beads are what I'm going to hang off the bottom of this component. It's just these same beads. Plus I have some bead caps in there and some ball head pins and some of the jump rings that came in the box. I have my 22 gauge German style wire. I have some bead caps from my stash. I have some findings in here. I have a lobster clasp. I have a piece of chain that I've not cut yet because I don't know how long I need it to be on each side. I have a piece of extender chain. I have some of the jump rings that came in the box. I have an 8mm jump ring from a lobster to clasp onto. And I have this little leaf charm that I'm going to hang off the extender chain. I'll be using my chain nose pliers, my tweezer pliers, my round nose pliers, both pairs of my bent chain nose pliers, the crimping pliers I use to tuck in burrs when I cut off wire, the cutters I use for craft wire and head pins and eye pins, my flat nose pliers, and I'll use my memory wire cutters to cut my chain. I usually do that off camera, but I'll be using them for that. And I've got my little New Orleans shot glass to put my wires in when I cut them off. He's getting full. I've got to empty him. I'll put links to everything I can find links for in the description box below, everything that didn't come in the box. I think the last video I did was with this box. I meant to look before I started and I forgot, but I think it was. But I had a lady comment, and she was telling me that this was her first box, and she was unsure about how to use this chandelier component here. She was talking about whether or not she needed a cabochon to glue in that little space there, and of course you can do that. That would be pretty, but you don't have to, and I don't think I have a cabochon exactly that size that would fit in there, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to dangle some beads off the bottom. But I told her that I would try to make a piece using this to try to help her out with how to use it. So that's why I'm doing another video back to back with the same box. So hold on, let me get some of this out of the way and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to start by making the little dangles that I'm going to dangle off of the bottom of my chandelier component here. I'm going to take a ball head pin, and you don't have to have a ball head pin. You can use any kind of head pin. You can use the head pins that came in the box if you want to. I don't think I'm going to make a wrapped loop here, and I don't think you probably couldn't make a wrapped loop with the head pins that come in this box because they're really thick. So if you use them, you'd probably have to make a simple loop instead of a wrapped loop like I'm going to use, or like I'm going to make. So I've got a bead cap and one of my 8mm beads and another bead cap. And I'm going to take my tweezer pliers, and I'm going to go to the very tip of the pliers because I don't want to have a very long neck. I'm going to bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. Take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. Bend the wire back till it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. I'm going to take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. I'm going to kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. And I'm going to get this big chandelier component out of the way for right now. I'm afraid it's distracting and I don't need it exactly right now anyway. Now I'm going to hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Start to wrap. I'm going to wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters. I'm going to cut off my extra wire. I use these crimping pliers, the little half circles on each end, to tuck in the burrs when I cut off wire. You don't have to use these. You can use regular pliers. I just like to use these for that. Now I'm going to take a piece of my German style wire, and I'm going to, these are probably about 3.5 inch pieces of wire, I think. I'm going to go down, I think about an inch, maybe a little more than an inch, I don't know. Bend over at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the tool. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take the short piece of wire under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Now I'm going to open my loop and thread on this little dangle that I just made. Close my loop back. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. I'm going to wrap the short piece of wire around the longer piece of wire about 3 times. I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. Now I'm going to take one of my 6/0 pink beads here and a bead cap, one of my 8mm beads and a bead cap, and another 6/0. I'm going to go take my pliers, go to the tip of the pliers, bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle, take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend, round nose pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the bead, rotate the plier till they're facing the table, take this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool, kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. That usually stands my little piece of wire straight up there. Now I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. Of course, you don't have to have 2 pairs of bent chain nose pliers. You can do these with any pliers with any pliers that you have. Now I'm just going to wrap until there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. I'm going to take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burrs. And I wait until I get both sides of my link made before I tuck in my burrs. It helps me to have that bead to brace against. Now I've got 7 loops on my little component here. I'm going to make 7 of these, just exactly like this. And then I'm going to hang them off of here with jump rings. Now, if you're wanting to just stick with what came in the box, if you don't, maybe you don't have any craft wire, or like I said, you could use the head pins that came in the box and do some simple loops instead of a wrap loop like I did. But maybe you don't have any craft wire and you're trying to use just what came in the box. You could take, maybe just hang one of these off of you could make a simple loop with one of the head pins that came in the box and do one of these, and maybe use some pieces of chain and attach it to the bottom of some pieces of chain and hang off like that. if you're going to be making jewelry, you're probably going to have to invest in some chain anyway. I know there wasn't any chain in this box, but it's pretty hard to make jewelry without some chain, so you probably have to have some of that anyway. But I'm going to be doing it this way, so when I get all these links made, I'll come back and we'll attach them to the component here, so I'll be back. Okay, I've got all my little links made here now, and I'm going to attach them to my component. These 3 loops right here in the center, they're hanging pretty much at the same length, and I want my middle one to hang longer, to hang down lower than the ones on each side of it. So I'm going to attach it with 2 jump rings. I'm going to attach all the rest of them with 1. And these are the jump rings that came in the box. I don't remember how many jump rings come in one box. When I get a box, you know, it alternates between silver and gold every month, so I just take all the findings and put them together. So I've got plenty of these jump rings from the Curated bead box. But if you just have the one box, there might not be enough to do all that I'm doing here. But that's another thing you're probably going to have if you're going to be making jewelry, is jump rings. So I'm going to open my jump ring. I'm going to put on one of my links. And then this one I'm going to add another jump ring. I'll close my jump ring back really well. Now I'm going to take the jump ring here and open it. And I'm going to put it on that very center loop of my component. I'm going to close it. So now I'm just going to take 1 jump ring this time. Open it up. Put on my dangle. Put it on the other side of the one I just put on there. You'll see that. Let me get the other one on and then you see it better. I'm going to take another jump ring. Open it up. Put another one of my links on here. And put it on the other side of the center one. Close it back. So that makes that center one hang lower than the ones on each side. Now I'm going to attach these other 4 with 1 jump ring, just like I did these. And then when I come back, I'll show you what I've got and start on the rest of the necklace. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got my little chandelier component made with all my dangles on it here. And this is a much bigger, bolder, I guess you'd call it statement focal than I usually make. So it's kind of outside my comfort zone, but that's what it looks like there. I usually, if I do a chandelier thing like this, I usually like to use smaller beads down here, but pretty much the smallest bead in the box was the 8mm. There were some smaller beads in those mixes, but they were all just like black and white, and they didn't have any color to them, and I wanted it to have some color to it. So that's what I've got now. So now I'm going to make the rest of the necklace. That one's gotten tangled up. There we go. So I've got one half of my necklace already made here. I went ahead and made it while I was making all those links. And I'm going to make the other half just like it. And I'm just doing the same thing I did for the links that are on the bottom of the chandelier. I'm just going to connect them together. So I'll just do a couple with you all, and then I'll do the rest of it off camera. So I'm going to start with one of my links that doesn't have the seed beads. So I'm going to take a piece of my German style wire and go down about 1 inch. Bend over at a 90-degree angle. Round those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Round those pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the tool. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. And take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this part down. Wrap the short piece of wire around the long piece of wire about 3 times. Take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. I'm going to take a bead cap, one of my 8mm beads, and a bead cap. I'm going to take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers. Bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle. Around those pliers in the crook of the bend. Bend the wire back until it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. Take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this part down. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. You just want to make sure to get that first wrapping under the bottom of the loop and not over the top of the bottom of the loop, like I have done many, many times. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Now I'm going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. I'll take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burrs. Okay. Now I'm going to take another piece of my German style wire, go down about 1 inch, bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back until it hits the tool, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, this part under until it hits the bottom of the tool, kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. I'm going to open my loop, thread on this one I've already made, close my loop back, take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop, bring this part down, bend this shorter piece of wire around the longer piece of wire about 3 times. Take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. Now this time I'm going to take a seed bead, a bead cap, 8mm bead, a bead cap, and another seed bead. I'm going to take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers, bend the wire over at a 90-degree angle, round those pliers in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back till it hits the beads, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, this part under until it's the bottom of the tool, kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads, my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop, bring this wire down, and my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start wrapping. I'm just going to wrap till there's no more room to wrap. going to take my cutters and cut off my extra wire. Take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burrs. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I get the same thing I've got here. I'm going to alternate between a link without the seed beads and a link with the seed beads until I get 4 more done. And then when I come back, we'll put it all together. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got both sides of my necklace made now, and I'm going to put it together. And again, if you don't, if you're wanting to stick with everything that came in the box, and you don't want to do all this wire wrapping like I've done here, you can use the bead stringing wire that came in the box and just string each side of it and attach it. You know, crimp it and attach it to your component with jump rings if you'd rather do that. So I'm going to take one of these 6mm jump rings. I think it's 6mm. And open it up. And put on one side of my necklace. And one side of my... I knew that was going to happen because that's kind of heavy. And you know, y'all know I'm going to drop something before I'm done. Okay, so I'm going to thread it onto this side of my component. Try to hold on to it here. Close my jump ring back. I'm going to do that on this other side. Take a 6mm jump ring. Open it up, put on my other side of my necklace. Put on this side of my component. Close it back up. Now I'm going to put some chain. I've got a couple of pieces of chain. They're about 4 inches each, which is probably going to make it way too long for this kind of a necklace. But y'all know me, I make long necklaces almost always. I'm going to take another jump ring. Open it up. Put on my chain. On one side of my necklace, close the jump ring back, and take another jump ring, open it up, put on this side of my chain, the other side of my necklace. Okay, now I'm going to come down here, take another 6mm jump ring, open it up, put on my lobster clasp, put it on this side of my necklace. And now I've got an 8mm jump ring. I just always use an 8mm jump ring for the lobster to clasp onto, but you could use one of these 6mm jump rings that would go through it, especially if it's one of these small lobster clasps like comes in the Curated bead box. Now I have a little piece of extender chain. It's about 2 inches. I'm going to put that on there. Well, I could get him framed, couldn't I? Close my jump ring back. And now I'm just going to take another jump ring. Open it up. Put it on this end of my extender chain and put my little leaf on here. lose my jump ring back. So there's my big statement necklace, I guess you'd have to call it. And while I was at it, since I had plenty of beads left over, I made a little pair of earrings to go with it. And I didn't do it on camera because it's just exactly like I made the dangles off that are on the bottom of the chandelier component, and I just put them on some ear wires. So got a little pair of earrings there. So hold on, let me see if I can get all this together in one picture and I'll be back. Okay, there's my quite big and bold necklace and pair of earrings made with some of the beads that came in the most recent curated bead box, the one for May 2024. It's called Mystical Orient. Like I said, if you're not subscribed to the box and you decide you want to be, that coupon code will save you 35% off your first box if you sign up. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. I also sell gift cards and some extra beads and bindings that I have. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.